Oh. Okay, everybody. Good evening. It is June 27th, 2021. You're watching Real Talk with Ronnie live. So last week it was Father's Day, so we had to cancel our show. Well, we didn't cancel. We just kind of postponed because I knew that everybody was probably out doing Father's Day stuff. I was, so I decided to give it a week break. But now we're back. We're back and in full force. So I hope you guys had a good 2-week period, right? I haven't seen you guys in 2 weeks, and a lot has happened. So I just want to give you guys a quick update. So in my race for county commissioner, they, finished the vote tally and the final results came out, and I garnered around 20,500 votes. So that's a pretty good showing. I mean, that's a great showing. Over 20,000 votes for county commissioner. And that's my first run. And, as I said last week or 2 weeks ago, I garnered 20,000 votes, which is nearly twice the number that was received in 2019, 2018, and 2017 for the same position. Okay. Another note, my fundraiser is tomorrow night. It's also going to be the first birthday party for my son, Ronald Lin. He's turning 1. So I decided to hold my first official fundraiser as the GOP nominee at the same time as my son's first birthday. So it's tomorrow night at Nominee's in Rochelle Park. It starts at 6. So if anyone's watching that would like to come, please stop on by. Starts at 6 p.m. at Nominee's in Rochelle Park, Nanni, and it'll go on until closing. It's going to be a wild night. Today I went to the Hasbrook Heights Street Fair here in Jersey, in Bergen County, and it was just so great to see everybody out. I think there was maybe 500, maybe 1,000 people out today. It was a great showing. Everybody was out, and it seemed like we were back to normal. People were out with their family, eating Zeppelis and sausage, sandwiches and hot dogs and everything, right? And people were not wearing masks. So it seems like we're finally getting over this hump, and life is getting back to normal. So that was great. A couple of news to update you guys on. So you remember in Randolph, New Jersey, the school board there had initially ruled that they wanted to take off all the holiday names from the calendar, right? Well, there was a big uproar, and the school board reversed that decision. So I think that's a great move by the citizens of Randolph. They all stood up and they protested, right? And I think, when you rise up and speak out against these illogical policies, it makes a big difference. So that was a great news. Today in Times Square, actually around 2-3 hours ago, there was a shooting in Times Square. In the heart of Times Square, there was a shooting. It was breaking news on every single news channel. And it's sad because Times Square is such a public place. It's an iconic place. And the crime rate in New York City has been blowing up because of Democratic policies. And, that needs to change because Times Square is actually the symbol of our country. And if people can't feel safe in the heart of our country, in Times Square, in such a public area, then how is that a good, representative of our country, right? So I think that Democratic policies have really ruined New York City. And I really hope that, we get some common sense policies back in place. Speaking of New York City, our guest tonight is from New York. Her name is she's got a great name. Her name is Lovelynn Gwinn, right? But she goes by Love, right? So Love is on our show tonight. She actually ran for Congress as the GOP nominee in 2020. She was the nominee for Congressional District 13 in New York. Aside from running for Congress last year, she is also the spokesperson and the executive director of the R.I.N.O project. And I think you could probably guess what they do, right? expose the rhinos and try to get them out of office, right? So we're very happy to have Love on our show tonight, and we can't wait to bring her on. So here we go. Hey, Love, how are you?
Hey, Ronnie, how you doing? Thank you so much for having me.
Great, thank you for coming on. So Lovelynn Gwinn. First, I gotta start off by asking you, how did you come up with, or how did your parents come up with that awesome name?
Well, I was born in the 60s, so I was born in 66. My parents spent some time in a love commune for a year before they decided that they got tired of being broke and go to college, and eventually became Republicans and very conservative people. I don't know how that happens, but the year I was born, they were doing their free love thing, and so
Okay.
I have an unusual name. And like their friends that were also in the same commune, all the kids were born that year, have unusual names, and I went to high school with them.
Okay.
So it's kind of funny when they're reading the graduation list of names. All of the names were very strange names, So
Right.
it was. I think it was just a year. The real year of the summer of love, if there ever was one, was
Right.
probably 66. So
was there like another name that was more unique than yours in high school?
Majnoon, Starbuck, Starjoy.
Starbucks. Okay.
I went to school with these guys, so it's just kind of funny. I don't know if they were more unique. They were definitely different. I felt like, at least I felt like I got lucky. Everybody tells me the name is pretty, so I'm like, well, I'll keep it.
Right. Okay. Well, your name is Lovelynn. My last name is Lin, so it feels like when I say your name, I'm just saying that I love myself. But
There you go.
okay, so Lovelynn. So according to your bio, you are originally from Hawaii, right?
I am.
Okay.
I'm from Maui, Hawaii. I moved to the States, well, to mainland, when I turned around 18. I went to college in Michigan, and then out of college, on a whim, a very weird whim, I decided to move to New York. Thought I'd be here for a couple of years, and then I'd move back to Hawaii because I really kind of missed home. And then I realized, no, New York's really where I'm supposed to be, and I've been here for over 30 years now. So I guess I'm a New Yorker.
Okay.
I can't imagine right now living anywhere else. I love it here, even though we're having a lot of problems. I often ask myself the question, if I was to live anywhere else, where would I live? I haven't come up with a good answer yet. So for now,
Okay.
it's not easy.
All right, we have a fan of our show, Mr. Hernandez, who is saying Lovelynn Gwinn wins.
That's so sweet.
Thank you, Ramon. Okay, so you're originally from Hawaii. You moved to New York City around 30 years ago, and you've been here ever since. And what part of New York City? Harlem?
I live in Harlem now. Yeah, I've lived all over the city during my 30 years, but I landed in Harlem. I'm a homeowner here. I actually own two homes here in Harlem. I'm an investor. So I'm very invested in this community. Being a homeowner, it's it is a significant investment.
Right.
People who just rent here, it's different when you own something, because you want to see your community do well. You want to see the crime be low. You don't see crazy stuff happening around you. And you want to help your neighbors, because that's what good homeowners do, I guess.
Yeah.
Grew up with that you should do those things.
So, I mean, you've been in New York for the past 30 years, so you've definitely seen like the drop in crime rate under Rudy Giuliani and Bloomberg, and now you're kind of seeing it rise again, right?
Yes. In fact, when I first got to New York, the crime was still quite bad.
Right.
I would never think of traveling above 86th Street on the subway back when I came here, and it was dangerous. It was known to be dangerous. There was a lot of petty kinds of crime, muggings. You had, as a single woman, had to be really careful walking around on the streets alone. It was different, and then slowly over time, everything got much better, and slowly got to a place where New York was a very safe kind of place. I felt completely safe here. I didn't feel any threat. I could walk around any hour of the day or night. I didn't think anything of it. And with the progressive leftist tactics that de Blasio has instated, and they've gotten from the cashless bail, which now they just set criminals upon the street, defunding our police. I've seen an incredible increase in crime, and it's been scary, to be honest with you. There are times when I'm thinking, do I want to risk my life just going outside after dark? And often nowadays, when I do go out after dark, I take an Uber. I don't go on the subway. I don't walk down the street. I get it to pick me up in front of my house. I go where I have to go, and I get whatever me home because it's just no longer.
When did it become like this way? Like over the last several months, or over the last year, or
Probably over the last year. Really, we saw it escalate when COVID really, like I would say around March, when COVID really kind of kicked in. March and April is when I really noticed the level of crime, and the kind of crime where, you know, I'm watching it, it's like on the corner of my street, or it's a half a block down from me. There's always crime, but this was different because it just seemed like, you know, these are crimes of opportunity. This is not, it wasn't normal. This is not normal.
right? And it's kind of sad, right? Because, like you said, you know, when you got to New York City, like, you know, 30 years ago, the crime rate was, you know, pretty sky high. And then, you know, because of policies of, you know, Rudy Giuliani and, you know, other people, the crime rate started dropping to, like, you know, record lows. And I was sad to see that this rate is going back up. So, I mean, I understand that in New York, you guys just had a primary, right?
Yes.
The Democratic candidate to emerge as the winner, I believe, is Eric Adams, right? And I think in New York, the Democratic candidate will be probably the presumptive winner, right? Because
I believe that's correct. This is a deep blue,
right,
deep blue city. In fact, in the district I ran, it was the deepest blue in the entire country. So
okay.
I kind of think that it would take a miracle. It would literally take a miracle for us to get another Republican.
Right. Well, the Republican nominee for mayor of New York City is Curtis Sliwa. Yeah, Sliwa. And I mean, he's been around for like quite some time, right? Yeah. So, do you think he has what it takes to possibly win?
Well, I think that he would have the what it takes to be a good mayor. Let's put it this way: what it takes to win, I think, is really going to be a confluence of things. You know, the Democrats live here have to get to the point where they're fed up with these policies and
right,
decide to make a change. I don't know that they're at that precipice yet. I don't know if they're at the precipice. We have some time because it's only end of June. Election's not till November. A lot can happen between now and then.
right.
I don't.
Yeah.
know.
Look, I think that many Democrats, you know, are kind of despondent over what's happening in New York City. Also, I mean, I just mentioned that, you know, there was a shooting in Times Square in broad daylight like a couple of hours ago, and that hasn't been like I mean, that happened today, but that hasn't been the, you know, only occurrence. Like, you know, these things seem to be happening in New York City more and more often. So I think if you're a Democrat, and I think most people in New York City are, you see this happening. I mean, they want to feel safe too, right? So, I mean, you know, how much worse does it have to get for them to finally like wake up and say, okay, you know, enough is enough. Let's get someone in charge that, you know, will know how to fight this crime.
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with the media. If they're not covering it and no one's talking about it or showing this, then a lot of times people aren't even aware these things happen. They're not aware of the shootings. They're not aware of anything. And
That's true.
so if the media doesn't cover it, then then no one knows. So really, I think it starts there. We need to start getting more coverage on these things when they happen and really making a big deal of it. But right now, they don't make a big deal of it. And it's kind of sad, you know, that they just sort of ignore it. And they pick and choose what they want to sort of cover, but it doesn't do any good because the people largely walk around blind. One, it's kind of scary because if you don't know that it's dangerous, then you don't know to look behind your back or pay attention, or maybe not wear your headphones when you walk down the street because you need to be paying attention to your surroundings. If you're going la da and you think everything is safe and wonderful like it used to be, we're far from those days right now. So that part of this makes me really sad.
Okay, now
media can do a better job.
Yeah, I mean, love, when you walk outside, like, you know, at dusk, right? Do you carry around like pepper spray or anything to kind of, you know, protect yourself?
No, but sometimes I wear an NRA hat, so people will assume I'm armed.
Okay. All right. I think that's a pretty good strategy, right? Okay. All right, love. So now let's talk about your run for Congress last year, right? I read on your bio that, you know, it was something that happened, you know, unexpectedly, right? So you were not planning to run for Congress. It somehow found you, right? Can you walk us through that process? Like, what happened there?
Well, they were desperate for a candidate to run. And basically, it was kind of crazy. There was a little conversation went around with some people in my neighborhood, and they were like, well, I'd like to run, but I have kids and I'm really afraid for my family. And because the left doesn't really seem to understand any boundaries, they're afraid that their children and their wives would get attacked. So I said, well, as much as I would like to, they won't do it. So then we were going, well, maybe Lovelynn should. I don't have children. I don't have a husband. I have a dog. So you have a dog and a cat and I have disposable income because I don't have children. So for me, I was kind of like, okay, I could consider doing this. And there was a promise of, Lovelynn will help you. I know nothing about politics or running or anything. I know things about business. I'm a very successful businesswoman. I will always choose to do the right thing. It's in my moral, fabric. I don't, I will always choose what's right. I don't care what kind of money is involved. If I lose money, I don't care. If it's the wrong thing, I'm not going to do the wrong thing. So I think it was going to be a good thing. So I was very fortunate. I had a friend of mine who ran for Congress in Texas in 2018.
Okay.
Basically was nominated. I was given the endorsement by Manhattan GOP, oddly on a night when I was not expecting. I was just supposedly to observe. Oh, let's observe. Yes, I'll observe the other candidates. No, next thing you know, I'm asked to speak.
So basically, you went into that meeting that night thinking that you were just gonna, check it out and see what's gonna happen. And then before you knew it, they nominated you.
Yeah, next thing you know, and we have Lovelynn Gwinn who's going to come up and speak for 3 minutes, and people are applauding, and I'm looking around like, okay, and I feel my body get up. As soon as you have these out of body moments, your body gets up. My body's walking to a podium, and I'm thinking, okay, 3 minutes is a long time to speak when you have nothing to say.
Right. So you didn't even have like a speech, prepared or ready or like anything, right?
Yeah. But I tend to speak from my heart, and I got up myself, and I explained to them things that were going on around me in my district and my concerns, and I guess it must have made some kind of impact because at the end of the night they announced me as their choice. So I went with it, and then I called my friend who ran in Texas, and I said, "You'll never believe what happened." He said, "I thought we were going to just observe." I said, "Well, I did go to just observe, but then somehow somebody didn't tell them that, and the next thing you know, I got up and I spoke for 3 minutes, and the next thing you know, at the end of the night, they gave me an endorsement, and so he goes, well, now you have to run." So he basically hooked me up. He gave me a treasurer. He gave me digital media, like all the people I would need because he knows I know nothing. He's like, well, what do you do? Like I didn't do this before. So he basically hooked me up with the people and then gave me and sent me on my merry way to go and
so I mean, prior to this meeting where you gave your speech, were you involved like a little bit in politics?
No, not at all.
No. Okay.
So actually, let me kind of take this back. So when I see a problem, I will fix it. We had a fire hydrant at the end of my street that was running nonstop. I decided at one point I was annoyed with this fire hydrant because it's flooding my basement. So therefore, I found the commissioner for the DEP, and I got a hold of him. I spoke to I wrote a very nice letter, and I faxed it to her, saying, my dream was to always be a homeowner, but when I thought of homeowners, I never expected to deal with things like water filling up my basement because the fire hydrant is running nonstop. Within 15 minutes of my sending this letter, they basically came and DB with police escorts, shut down the fire hydrant, put lacking caps on it, and the problem was solved. So to say that it's not really quite fair to say that not really involved, but as problems arise, I will sort of find my way to fix things. We had a horrible rat problem like all of New York does. And
oh my gosh.
I got very lucky. Department of Health guy, getting ready to retire, wants to do a good deed. And I said, my dream of home ownership didn't include all these rats. And he goes, lady, I like you. I'm going to send somebody to help you. So he said, can you be there on like Tuesday at 8 a.m.? I said, and show us? I said, oh yeah, I'm happy to do that. So I took the morning off from work and I basically they sent the SWAT team of rat killers. Oh my God, trucks of rat killer people. And then
oh my God. I have a phobia for rodents, for rats. Yeah. So they were in your house?
They were in your basement? Yard. I couldn't go in my garden or my yard at the time because they were all outside, and I was scared of them. So, like during
daytime or nighttime or both?
Daytime, and they're climbing trees. It was so infested. They were climbing trees, and they had burrowed under the ground. So they had like tunnels. It was really, really bad. So the guy comes and says, "Oh, I'm doing my last good deed before I retire after how many years I've been here, and I want to do this for you." So they took care of all of it, and then for weeks after. sanitation would to come and pick up dead bloated rats that were left on the sidewalk, and they would die as they were going out. Dead bloated rats on the street, dead bloated on the sidewalk, and they would bring down the street and pick them all up. And every day that was a new thing for weeks that went on. And then
so how is the problem now? Is there still a problem or no?
Very little. Luckily, but they're not like it is where I'm currently living on Convent and 145th. That was one street when I first moved over there. But
now, did any of these rats ever find their way into your apartment?
Well, one night I accidentally let one in because I left some wine glasses in the garden out, and I decided go out late at night, like 11 o'clock, and open the door and go and retrieve the wine glasses. And as I was coming back, I didn't realize I had let a rat in the house. I have a cat at the time, a big fluffy Persian cat. It was 22 pounds. And I was like, come on, Merlin, let's go to bed. Normally he hops in bed and we go to sleep, right? This night he didn't want to go to bed. I thought, he may have found a bug he's chasing or something. Let me turn off the light. He'll hop up when he's ready. I turn off the light. I hear something with claws running, and I hear the cat chasing it. I hopped up out of the bed so quick, flipped the lights on, realized there was a rat in my bedroom, and didn't know what I was going to do. I grabbed the cat, I shut the door behind me in the bedroom and left the rat in the bedroom for a minute. And I had to think, well, who can I call at this hour? You can't really call an exterminator. It's almost after midnight. And I, at the time, didn't have a boyfriend. I thought, damn it, I should get a boyfriend for this problem. I was like, well, so I started thinking, well, rats don't like light. And I realized I had some very bright halogen lights that I had on stakes. So I got an extension cord. And this is crazy. I get an extension cord and I plug in this halogen light and I turn off. I kind of knew he was underneath the radio. I opened the back door and I turn on, and I basically scared him out the back door with the light. But that was how I got rid of it, because I just didn't know what to do. I didn't want to kill it, because killing it would mean there'd be bloody mess.
No, wait, so you, why didn't you just let your cat do the dirty work?
If I got sick or my cat got hurt, then I gotta go take the cat to the vet.
Okay.
So that's not smart. What if the rat's like a poisonous rat or a?
But it's like a cat's natural instinct to chase and kill rats and mice, right?
Chased it right under the radiator. Yeah, but I couldn't get it. But I was thinking.
But in New York City, I mean, I'm sure some of the rats are probably bigger than the cats, right? So.
Yeah, they are. Yes, they are. And
so you were able to chase the rat out of your apartment, right? So it just left?
Yeah. I used the light to change it. The halogen light is so bright that it basically scared it out. And then I left the lights in the bedroom dark, and then the light was enough to scare it out and scared out the door. And then I closed the door and put it back outside.
Okay, so you scared it out of your bedroom.
Yes.
And then once it was out of your bedroom, you somehow scared it again out of your house.
The door is off my bedroom.
Oh, okay.
So that's how it ended up. When I opened the garden door is off my bedroom, so I actually let it in. And I didn't realize I let it in. Okay.
Wow.
But the thing is, with that door, what do you do? I was sitting in my living room, well, now who do I call? And I'm running all the options. Well, if I kill it with a broom, it's going to be bloody. I'm going to have to clean that mess up. I'm going to let the cat get it. The cat might get sick, and I'm going to have to go to the vet. Then I'm thinking, okay, what else can I do?
My gosh. If that were me, I think I would have just left the house, stayed in the hotel for the night, and just, I would just deal with it, next morning.
I used to, I just sat there. I thought about it. Then I said, well, let's think logically. Yeah, they don't like bright lights. They're nocturnal creatures. Like, okay, now I know. Okay. Yeah, I just have.
Well, if I ever do have a rat problem, which I hope never ever happens, now I know who to call.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so that's how you got into politics. I mean, you were kind of just thrown into it, right? But before you went to that first meeting, though, I mean, you must have gone to a few meetings prior to that, right? No,
nothing. I was there to literally just observe. I had never been to any of the meetings. I knew nothing. I did not know these people. I knew nobody there.
So how did you know that there was a meeting happening?
Well, the Harlem district leader, the Harlem Republican district leader, which at the time I didn't know, he was not. He's a R.I.N.O, but I didn't know at the time. Brought me thinking that people, and this is probably one of my crazy superpowers. People often think that I'm dumb, and I can try to let them think I'm dumb because I'm actually very smart. But they just assume that I'm dumb, and so he thought, oh, this is great. I'll get this dumb girl to run. She won't know what to do. She won't do anything, and this is great. You're like, fantastic, right? So he brought me there, and I think he was one who actually put me up to speaking, thinking that I would flop or whatever, or that I wouldn't know what to say. I just think it was kind of those things, like, I think he instituted that. That was something that was done.
Okay. But
And
like, how did you know him? How did you know him?
I met him through a neighbor in the neighborhood who said, "Oh, well, if we're going to have you run in our district for district leader, then you need to meet Sultan." And he is the Harlem Republican district leader, and have a chat with him, and then he will bring you to the district leader meeting with all of the district leaders for all of the different districts in New York City.
Okay. All right. So that's how you met him. That's when so you got there, you made a speech, and before you knew it, boom, you had the endorsement. And then I'm guessing a couple of weeks later, you had the official nomination for the Republican Party to run for Congress, which I think is a pretty cool honor, right? It's a pretty big thing. And the opponent that you were running against is who?
Adriana Espaillat.
Okay. And this person has been in office for how long?
I believe 2 terms now. He
Okay.
replaced R.I.N.O.
Okay. So what was the breakdown of the win-loss percentage at the end of the race?
That's actually a really good question, because we talk about election integrity, right? I will tell you that the lines were very long for the early voting. Every day they were very long, which for me was a unique opportunity, considering we had COVID and I wasn't able to really go out and campaign or talk to anybody.
Oh yeah, right, yeah.
And I really didn't know what to do. There's no playbook for this. Who runs a campaign during a pandemic and writes a playbook on it? There is none. So the opportunity it gave me was to actually go out and do what's legal electioneering. Anything beyond 100 feet from the door, you can talk to people all day long. And the lines are blocks long, 4 or 5 blocks long. And I literally would walk the blocks out on the line and start talking, handing out phone cards and talking to people, introducing myself. And so I believe I only got like maybe 11 or 12% of the votes. But I have to wonder myself, just from what I saw, if I actually didn't do better. And then the other thing is, I met a lot of Trump supporters online. The Trump supporters were actually really fun. They were dancing online. They're happy. They were very jovial. They were just happy there voting. And I thought it was so odd when the results came back and the percentage for his votes were so low. Considering I know what I saw, I was out there 8 days, every day, all day long. And I think it was like, this doesn't add up with the 3 locations that I went to, which were the 3 busiest locations, from what really was represented on paper. So I actually have to wonder myself, was that really accurate?
Right.
I don't know. I just think it wasn't quite right.
Okay. So now that you've been through that, do you think you'll want to run again? Maybe next year, or
yes.
Who knows?
One of those things. It's one of the, no one ever talks about what you're supposed to do after the election's over and you're not the winner.
Right.
It's so funny because all of a sudden it's like this emotional drop. It's what they call it, like a camp drop. Well, yeah, a campaign drop. Like all of a sudden, no, you don't have any interviews to really do. You have nothing to really know. Nothing to really be campaigning about. So now what? And I started to really think about, well, what's the best way I could really make an impact for the next cycle? And I thought to myself, well, I don't necessarily think that running in this district, being that it's a D+43,
right, yeah,
the way it's the most impact. But what I did think about was looking for projects that I could take on that I could effectively help make some changes.
Yep. And this brings us, and this is a good segue, right? So this brought you to your project, the R.I.N.O project, right? Where you're the spokesperson and executive director for, right?
So I basically let people know I was thinking about looking into some projects to do in the political realm, and to keep their ears out for me. And it was funny because my friend's like, "You're the most patient." I said, "I'm waiting," and this project actually didn't come around till early March. R.I.N.O project came to me early March, in November, January, February. We were here in March, and so I waited around to see what would show up that would really kind of be great. And I thought, for me, betrayal in my world is the worst thing. I hate betrayal. People betray me. That's the worst thing you could do. And I see the R.I.N.Os as betrayers. They betray their constituents in the worst kind of way. They promise them that they are going to do these things to represent them, and then they turn around as soon as they're elected, and they go do the opposite. They go side with the other team. There's something that for me is very visceral. I really don't like it.
Right.
It affects me personally, and so I decided to take this project on.
So the people that were organizing this project, they came to you, or did you seek them out?
They were looking for someone to basically, they wanted this project to be off, and they were looking for someone they would give guidance. So they said, we want to give you this project, and we'll give you all the guidance and all the support you need, but this is going to be your project. So,
but how did they find you?
Word of mouth.
Okay.
Some of this is word of mouth, and I happen to have Larry Ward was one of my political media guy. I had some really big people who helped me with my campaign, and they were the ones who, basically word of mouth. People talked about, me and, how great I was, or whatever. And I'm like, so the next thing you know, I was actually offered a few projects. Some of them didn't sound that great. And I was like, I don't know about that. It doesn't really tickle my fancy.
Right.
But this one struck gold with me. I was like, okay, I think this is great.
So what is the overall goal of the R.I.N.O project?
The goal of the R.I.N.O project is basically I can choose up to 10. I chose 8 of the worst offenders of the R.I.N.Os. And the goal is to basically get them primaried out. So at this stage of the game, we're looking at, the R.I.N.Os. And then we're also going to look at trying to endorse candidates who are good constitutional America First candidates to support in. So there's a kind of a 2-pronged thing. We primary the R.I.N.O out. We choose the right person to come in, and we go forward from there. And the budget for the R.I.N.O project is between $350,000 to $1 million plus over for each R.I.N.O. So that's, I have 8. I can't handle any more.
Right. Where do you get the money for the budget? Where does it come from?
Well, that comes from donors. So I go and I write on Substack. And I send out letters, just like every other politician. It's very much like running a political campaign for yourself. The only difference is I'm running it for an organization, to run this project. So a lot of the same things that you would do for yourself, you would do for something like this. That's what I do. And, we get donations. People who hate their R.I.N.Os, they're the best. Because they're the ones.
Right. I was looking through the list, right? And by the way, if you want to check out Love's the website for R.I.N.O project, it's rhinoproject.com. So on that site you can see the list, right, of the candidates that you're trying to target. And I noticed that one of the candidates is I believe Adam Gonzalez, right, from Ohio. And I think that's where President Trump went to last night, right?
Yeah,
to speak at. So have you been in touch or in contact with President Trump?
Not yet, no. But we have time, and I'm going to CPAC next month, so perhaps that'll happen.
Okay.
But I do notice that a lot of the R.I.N.Os I've chosen are also R.I.N.Os that he also has labeled R.I.N.Os, and so it's helpful on my side. And people are very excited when they see that someone's actually trying to do something. The people of the states that have these R.I.N.Os, they know that they have R.I.N.Os. They want them gone, but a lot of times people individually don't know how to get rid of them or what to do about it. So to have somebody like me organize it, it's amazing to, pull it all together. And then I talk to them. Liz Cheney is one of my R.I.N.Os, and she's notorious, and the people of Wyoming deserve better, and they've come out.
Now, it was interesting. I was looking through your list, right, and of course you have people like Liz Cheney, I believe Adam Kissinger, right, or however you will say his name. But I've noticed that one person that was not on your list, which I think a lot of people would agree is a R.I.N.O, is Mitt Romney. So I was curious why he was left off.
So he's not up for election in 2022.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So the thing of it is that I'm looking at the immediate one. So that's actually a common question I get, is why certain people aren't on the list that are definitely R.I.N.Os, because we're looking right now at 2022. And then when the next cycle comes up, I'll compile a new list of R.I.N.Os, and they'll be the ones that'll be coming up in 2024. And then, 2020, basically it's just rolling. But right now I'm looking at the ones that are coming up in 2022. So we have John Thune, for example, he's coming up. And, he's a very much a threat because, he's third in line to.
Now, when you're trying to coordinate, this project, do you talk to people in that state too? Like, so for example, John Thune is from South Dakota, right? Mm-hmm. So do you talk to the people in South Dakota to try to coordinate, or?
So what happens in South Dakota? So it's actually unique and a very good example. They actually have a Facebook group called Primary John Thune.
Okay.
And they're over 5,000 members. So I am active there. I interact with them. They are very much supportive of what I'm trying to do. But of course, right now they're looking to have a candidate step forward. They're still gathering candidates to primary him. And so they're kind of a little, they want to see who else comes out. There's a couple that have declared, but they want to see who else declares before they choose a good candidate who's going to really represent them well and take things seriously. And it's kind of early in their process, but I believe in the people in South Dakota. I think they're amazing, and I'm excited. One day I'm going to go visit there. I'm not sure exactly when, but I am going to visit South Dakota and meet some of the people that I interact with online. And these are the nicest, most down-to-earth people on the planet. They're hardworking, and I really believe they deserve representation that actually represents them and is looking out for their best interests, not just going to Washington and cocktail parties and doing what they think is best for themselves.
Okay, a couple more questions. So, what exactly makes a R.I.N.O? Like, how does someone who's a politician get onto your R.I.N.O list?
Well, so the worst offenders. So basically, when they do things that's so egregious. So
now, is it just if they are anti-Trump, or that's not the only criteria?
A lot of them are anti-Trump. It just happens to be that they're. But more importantly, they're not representing the will of the people. So I can give you a good example. In Michigan, there's Peter Meijer. Peter Meijer is a very new representative there. And, he promised the people he was going to support President Trump. He was going to be America first. He was going to do all these things. And he gets voted, and not even a minute after he gets in, he goes and he betrays his constituents and does everything opposite of what they voted him in for. So it wasn't just, that he voted against President Trump to impeach him, but it was a whole bunch of other things that he voted for that was not of the will of the people. And the people in Michigan are pretty upset. My mom's one of them. She voted for him. She goes, I'm so mad at this guy. She goes, he said he was going to do this, and he didn't do anything. He went and did it completely opposite.
So, your mom lives in Michigan, right?
Yeah, my mom's living in Michigan these days, yeah.
So is she going to primary him?
Oh, of course. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we actually have a candidate that's very good. America First candidate is Tom Norton. I believe Tom is veteran. And I believe that he will actually step up and do what the people, what their wishes are. Because even in the back of my mind, when I ran for Congress, in my mind, I always thought it really kind of doesn't matter in some ways what I think or don't think. But what I do need to think about is, what do the people around me that live in the district, what do they want? And then basically, since I'm their representative, shouldn't I just basically, if it even might not necessarily go with exactly what I think, but if that's the will of them, then that's who I'm supposed to be representing. So therefore, that's probably what I should do, is represent them and not just go off on my own and do what I think, because I'm just one person.
Okay, so Lovelynn, aside from the R.I.N.O project, what else do you have in the pipeline that's keeping you busy and getting you involved in politics still?
No, so I have the other project that's actually a really good partner project to this project, which is brand new. It's the Constitutional Action Force. And it was put together by P.T. Burton and James Bradley. P.T. Burton's in Arizona, James Bradley's in California. And basically, this is so that a lot of times there are a lot of really great candidates, but they don't know how to be a candidate. They need training, they need exposure. It would be really helpful if they had a support system. We basically don't. I didn't have any support system. It was just me. So I think this is going to be really great. It's one of those things where they really are working hard to look for constitutional, conservative, right-minded, candidates who have some common sense, not trying to police or crazy stuff, and help them get elected. So that's what this Constitutional Action Force is about. And they have symposiums, which they had one in November. One in March in Las Vegas, which I did go to. And they had about 120 different candidates from all over the country, which is great to meet people from all over the country who are running for various things, Congress and Senate. And they also had some former Congress people there, which is also very amazing, to meet people who have already done the job. They've been there, so you can ask them questions, and you can ask them candidly. And, like silly little questions, like, where do you go for lunch? Or, how do you you have to wonder, like, sometimes, like, what's it like? I always wonder, where's the bathroom? Like all these questions you want to know.
Right.
So it's neat to have that. And we're having another symposium in the beginning of August, and that one will be in Fort Lauderdale. So Constitutional Action Forces Basically, I think it's going to actually be amazing. It's really going to help get candidates to have a support system, to give them the training that they need, because a lot of us, when you become I didn't know how to fundraise. I had to hire fundraising. I had never cold called before.
Did you have a lot of fundraising events when you were running?
COVID, so
that's right. So you couldn't even do any, right? Yeah.
Pick up a phone and start calling people. But
right.
then, people kept saying, "What? You have to call people." I'm like, "Well, who do I call? Is there like a white pages for this?"
Yeah.
I called another friend. I said, "Listen, I'm very upset." I said, "How many times to call?" He said, "Oh, you need help." He said, "I'm going to get you somebody." So I got Dr. Gavin Clarkson as my fundraising coach. He's amazing and helped me with so many things, and feeling confident about calling, because asking for money, particularly.
Yeah. Look, now that I'm running for office too, I know that, firsthand, asking people for money is never easy, right? Especially when you're always asking for money, right? So it's not an easy task.
It's not, and to be able to ask for it in a way that's direct and concise and with confidence, it takes practice. It's not something that comes firsthand. It really
well, speaking of asking for money, I'm having my fundraiser tomorrow night, Lovelynn. I would love it if you can make it. It's in it's in Jersey. It's not too far from where you are. You just gotta, it's right over the bridge. So if you can make it there, I'd love to have you there.
I don't have a car,
Okay.
I live in.
I believe there are buses that that can go there. NJ Transit, right? It's fundraising is probably one of the hardest aspects of running for any sort of office, right?
Pandemic, when you can't have any kind of events or actually go out and meet people or do anything, me in the phone, I can just call people.
Right. So if you were to run for office in the future, do you know what it would be for? Because you mentioned that it's not necessarily prudent or practical to run again from that district, from your current district, right?
I would like to go to Congress. I just think that I would probably run in a different district.
Okay.
There are people looking for districts for me, so
right.
They know my personality, they know me.
Maybe you could challenge, AOC.
Yeah, but that's another district that's kind of tough. I'm not really. I'm from Hawaii. I'm not a Latina. I look Latina. I unfortunately don't speak Spanish, so I always and around a lot of Spanish, I have to bring someone who can interpret for me and who will interpret correctly for me, because sometimes what I've said doesn't get translated properly, and then I get into problems because I realize that the person translated what I said into Spanish into something completely different. It's promising free rent. I'm like, I never said that. I'm not promising people free rent or anything, but that was what the translator decided to tell the people. I'm like, okay, this isn't helping me, when you're promising people things that I didn't say. And it poses its own challenges, I think.
All right. Now, Love, I'm going to ask you a couple more silly questions, and then I'll let you be on your way, because I know you got a lot of money to raise for the R.I.N.O project and for your other, ventures. But so what's your favorite food?
Favorite food?
Yep.
Well, it changes constantly. So, I'm from Hawaii, so I like Asian food. I go for kicks. Like, I was just on a Korean kick for a minute, and I was eating a lot of Korean food. Then I decided I like barbecue. I just got a grill. I bought Trio.
Now I'm kind of worried. If you grill too much, especially in your backyard, I'm afraid that you might attract those rats to come back.
Nah, they don't like fire.
Okay.
I just put fire in a stick and they'll go running real fast.
All right. But, one of the good things about living in, New York City is that you can get food from almost any country, right? There's so many restaurants,
It's true.
Yeah. So, do you usually cook or do you eat out a lot?
I do cook a lot. I'm actually very good at cooking, and I enjoy it.
Okay.
So I do cook a lot.
So what is your favorite dish to cook?
What's my favorite dish to cook? That's a good question. I make duck à l'orange lately a lot.
Oh, yeah? Okay, great.
I have speed. I tell you, the kitchen is my playground, and I have all these. So I put the duck in the sous vide, and then I cook, and then I basically crisp up the skin, and I make a lovely orange glaze.
Wow.
So I do that, and then have.
You're getting me hungry. Okay, well, maybe one of these days in the future, you can have a fundraiser, and you can, cook some of your, delicious meals, and you can have us all over there.
maybe I'm learning. I want to be a pit master because there aren't too
Okay.
many masters. So that I've been watching a lot of videos on running the smoking pit and all this. I'll be a pit master. So once I master the pit, then I'm gonna, I think, have a big like a barbecue and have people come and sample all my smoke goods.
Perfect. Now, Lovelynn, do you have any plans for 4th of July?
Not yet. No, my birthday is actually the 6th.
Oh,
So,
wow, really? Okay. So happy birthday.
I don't know. I didn't set anything up yet for the 4th of July. I don't know what I guess it's kind of weird because last year we didn't really have fireworks or anything, right? So hopefully this year we'll have some kind of display.
Yeah, I think this year there'll be something, right?
Yeah, hopefully we'll have something.
Right. I mean, if it's not fireworks in the city, there might be some gunshots, right? So
Yeah, it's funny because I always tell when the neighbors have excess dollars and the COVID money is here because they spend it all on fireworks. So they're launching all around me all night
Right.
long. Fireworks are going off. And so,
well, better fireworks than gunshots, right? So
too, yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes they can't tell the difference. So it's kind of like you hear something go off. You're like, okay, was that a firework? Was that a gun?
Okay, Lovelynn, I want to thank you so much for joining us tonight. We'd love to have you on again in the future so you can give us an update on your projects. Okay, so for all of you who are watching, if you wanted to check out Love's project, you can go to www.R.I.N.O project.com. And okay, so good luck with everything.
Thank you.
Especially with that rat problem. I hope it doesn't come back. So.
Yeah, well, one day.
All righty. Okay, love. We will see you soon. Okay.
Great. Thank you so much. You have a great
All righty. Thank you. Bye-bye. All right, guys. So that was our exclusive interview with Lovelynn Gwinn, and I love her name. What a great name. So, guys, once again, my fundraiser is actually tomorrow. I'm not good with asking for money, but I'm gonna have to do it. So my fundraiser is tomorrow. It also doubles as the first birthday party for my son. It's gonna be at Rochelle Park at Nani's, starting from 6 p.m. My website has launched for a couple of weeks now. It's RonaldJosephLin.com. If you want to learn more about my campaign or about me, you can check it out. And there's always there's a sign-in form there, so you can write to me, and my number's there too. If you want to talk to me, if you want to give me a shout out, that's also great. And we will be back next Sunday, although next Sunday is the 4th of July, so I think we're going to try to do something special. But we should be back at 8 p.m. All right, so next Sunday 8 p.m. live from our Facebook page. If you think that you would be an interesting guest, or if you have a great story to share, please contact me. Okay, you can reach me at realtalkwithronnie@gmail.com. realtalkwithronnie@gmail.com. And of course, our Facebook page is www.facebook.com/realtalkwithronnie. facebook.com/realtalkwithronnie. Okay, guys, it was lovely talking to you guys again. It's been 2 weeks since I talked to you guys, so I really missed it. And I hope you guys have a great week. And until then, good luck, God bless, and I'll see you next week for the 4th of July. All right, so take care, everybody, and I will see you soon.